Hey folks, this is the continuing saga of Eliza Flashcoin, Chapter 6, High Stakes and Himalayan Spirits. The altitude in the Hindu Kush was a thorough-paced impertinence. As our private railcar wheezed up the incline towards Gulkoti, I found the oxygen to be of a most lacklustre quality, thin, cold and entirely lacking the robust backbone of a proper English fog. "Driver!" I shrieked, rapping my honed parasol against the boilerplate until it rang like a funeral bell. "If this locomotive loiters for one more whiffle-waffle second, I shall have the entire permanent way impounded for mechanical cowardice." The fellow, a shifty-eyed ragabrash with a beard like a gorse bush, merely spat into the coal dust. "Truck's frozen, Mem Sahib. We wait for the thaw or we play the cards." I snorted, a sound that has caused sturdier men than this fuster lugs to wilt. "Wait? I've survived the gutter scramble of Mexico City and the pigeon-livered clerks of American Airlines. I do not wait for the weather, I command it." However, the sight of a battered deck of cards upon the coal box stayed my hand. If I was to reach the Grand Duke's stronghold, I required intelligence, and nothing loosened the tongue of a snollygoster like a lost wager and a bottle of scotch. "Deal, you galumpus," I commanded, settling onto a crate of common-grade ammunition. The game was poker, a pastime my grandfather had mastered between bouts of rugby pitch villainy. But I had the Flashcoin flair, a sturdy backbone and a bluff that could derail a freight train. The driver produced a bottle of whiskey that smelled of peat smoke and bureaucratic neglect. "A sip, Mem Sahib?" I tasted it. It was sovereign chill, bracing, exquisite, I admitted, though I kept my eyes on his cow-handed shuffle. "Now, let us discuss the Bolsheviks at the fortress. I hear they've been pillar to post with my emeralds." By the third hand, I had relieved the addle-pated fellow of his month's wages and his secret map of the Gulkoti back entrance. I held a full house, aces over kings, while he sat there with the expression of a startled sheep. "I believe those are my winnings," I said, sweeping the pile toward my reticule. "And as for your map, consider it seized as collateral for this substandard journey. If we do not reach the summit by moonrise, I shall have your stoker served with a writ of nuisance for temporal treason." I stood smoothing my travel cloak. I had the map, the whiskey, and the inevitable reckoning of a woman of quality. The Grand Duke was about to discover that in the Himalayas, the most dangerous predator wasn't the snow leopard. It was Eliza Flashcoin with a winning hand. Shall we storm the fortress gates with a flurry of ballistic impertinence? Or shall I infiltrate the Grand Duke's banquet disguised as a wandering Nautch girl? Chapter 7. The Nautch Girl's Gambit. The air within the fortress of Gulkoti was a fusterlugs of a breeze, stale thick with the scent of roasted mutton and the even ranker aroma of Bolshevik flummery. I had successfully bypassed the pigeon-livered sentries at the postern gate, thanks to the driver's map and a judicious application of my honed parasol to a particularly shifty-eyed guard's kidneys. Now, draped in the gossamer silks of a wandering dancer, a disguise that felt positively namby-pamby compared to my sturdy travelling cloak, I crept toward the Great Hall. My Flashcoin grit was the only thing keeping my spine from wilting in this substandard mountain humidity. "Behold!" bellowed the Grand Duke from his high table, his voice carrying the temporal insolence of a man who thinks he's already won. "The Emir shall have his bribe, and the Flashcoin emeralds shall buy us the Khyber Pass." Not if a thorough-paced daughter of the Raj has anything to say about it, I hissed under my breath. I glided into the hall, my face veiled to hide the vituperative sneer I held for the Grand Duke's cravat. I began a dance that would have made my grandfather, the old rogue of the rugby pitch, blush into his whiskers. It was a performance of magnificent grit, distracting the addle-pated Muscovites while I edged closer to the velvet casket resting at the Duke's elbow. "Exquisite!" the Duke. "What nationality is this Duke?"
He's
"Is he
Russian."
"Exquisite!" the Duke cried, his eyes as glassy as a startled sheep's. "Bring this girl a drink, our finest common-grade vodka." I stopped dead. "Vodka?" "Vodka!" I snapped, the veil slipping to reveal my bloodthirsty glare. "You hornswaggler! I have survived the gutter scramble of Mexico City and the pigeon-livered clerks of American Airlines. Do you truly imagine Eliza Flashcoin shall toast her victory with a spirit that has the character of bilge water?" The hall fell into a whiffle-waffle of stunned silence. I didn't wait for a rebuttal. I snatched the emerald casket with one hand and drew my concealed parasol with the other. "This fortress is now under citizen's arrest for aesthetic treason and the illegal loitering of my jewellery," I proclaimed, the tip of my weapon finding the Duke's throat. "And if this vodka isn't sovereign chill by the time I reach that door, I shall have the entire Hindu Kush served with a writ of nuisance." I backed toward the balcony, the emeralds heavy in my reticule and my inevitable reckoning finally at hand. Shall we leap from the balcony into a waiting hay cart to escape the Galumpus guards? Or shall I challenge the Grand Duke to a final high-stakes game of cricket for the fate of the frontier? Find out in the next instalment coming soon.